celebration. They were really exciting. We would usually arrive by mule, and the children would surround Patricio, and he would have a bag with these little penny candies that he would take out and hand out, and the children would dance around as if it was the best Christmas present that they'd ever gotten. We got to the farthest village in this circuit that we did, and Patricio said, hey, before we get ready to set up to say Mass, let's go say hey to this family that he knew that had kind of helped him out when he had been there before. So we went to visit this family, and it was a husband and wife and a couple of young kids. Very poor area, way up in the mountains in Honduras. This time, the Christmas time of year, the weather's, kind of crummy. It'll rain all the time, and not real cold, but uncomfortably cool with all the rain. Family lives, like most of the other families in this village, bamboo walls and thatched roof, and windows were just open cuts into the bamboo. And we walked in, and this family was obviously very, very poor. Their children had some of the classic signs of kids that had malnutrition, which was very common in the country and in the folks that we visited there. And we visited with the family for a little bit, and then we were getting ready to leave and go set up and say Mass. And the guy, the husband, said to Patricio, hey, wait a minute, Father, and I have a gift for you. And he went and he got a little bag, worn rope bag, and he gave it to Patricio. He said, Merry Christmas. Patricio opened it up, and it was filled with food. Now, Patricio had a physical resemblance to Santa Claus. He had not missed a lot of meals. And I was 22 years old, and like a lot of 22-year-olds, thought I knew everything. And I kind of had this very visceral reaction. It's like, wow, I can't believe Patricio is going to take this food from these people. These kids definitely need food. The guy had gone further up into the mountains and picked all these gourds and vegetables up there, and he gave them to Patricio. And so we turned to walk out of the house and go back to set up for Mass, and we were walking, and I was just thinking, hey, I can't believe Patricio did that. These kids need that food. And Patricio is a very, very smart guy. Or maybe wise would be the better word. He knew exactly what I was thinking. I didn't say anything, but he read my mind just perfectly. And we just walked for about 2 minutes in complete silence, and he knew the vibe that I was sending off was a very cold vibe. And then he said this to me, and this kind of, to me, this has been my piece of advice that's kind of been at the heart of my public service career. He said, look, Tim, you got to be really, really humble to take a gift of food from a family as poor as that one. Didn't say anything else. Now, that was not advice, it was not advice in the classic sense. He was not giving me a lecture, but I've just thought about that so often over the course of, that was, 25, 26 years ago. I've thought about it so often because there are two kind of truths in there that really, to me, are truths about why do public service work. I mean, the first one is the exact really words that he said, which is you do have to be humble. All of us have been helped yesterday, today, and will be helped tomorrow. And some of the people who help us we know, but many of the people who've helped us we don't even know to thank. And no matter how good our law school is or how high our GPA is, none of us really have the full package. I mean, you can't get stuff done if you're not willing to recognize that you stand in the need of help from others. And so that was a very powerful message. But the second part of the message was the one that kind of occurred to me a little bit later that really is about public service. Patricio was basically saying this to me, that, I could have turned that food away, but what's more important in life than being able to give? And so the most ennobling thing about being a human being is that we all have something to give to somebody else. So even people in the most unlikely circumstances, unlikely seeming circumstances, have something to give. And that's what really leads to, tremendous satisfaction in life. It's not salary and it's not your resume. It's having something to give, and everybody has something to give. Well, since that time, that really made me then come back to Harvard, and everybody was surprised to see me back in a very different place. I didn't really care about what the salaries were, for the summer jobs that were being offered, and there were a lot of things that were important, a lot of people there that had been important to me before I left that weren't important to me when I came back. What was important to me is just simply, all right, I got some, talents. I got my own humble collection of talents like everybody else. Can I use them to benefit other people? And at every step along the way, when I've had a decision to make, I've just asked myself a basic question. Look, if I make this decision, will it enable me to use the gifts I have to serve others? Or will it enable me to encourage that in other people. And if I can say yes when I ask that question, it's like, fine, then I'll do it. And that really is the reason. That's the why about a public service career, which you knew before you came in or you wouldn't have come in, which is it is the way to lead a deeply satisfying life. Since that experience, at that time, dealing with some of the poorest of the poor, I hadn't had many experiences at the other end of the phase. My parents were middle class and my dad ran an ironworking shop, but now having been governor and mayor, I've dealt with the richest of the rich. I've now known and befriended some of the richest people in the world. And so now I can say I've seen the full spectrum, from the poorest of the poor and from convicted people on death row to the richest people in the world. I've never known somebody, no matter what their physical circumstance or their income level, who was a giver who wasn't happy. And I've never known anybody who wasn't a giver, no matter how much they had, who was happy. And so that basically, there's altruistic reasons to do it for others, but do it for yourself. Do it for yourself so that you can wake up every day excited, that you can look in a mirror and ask yourself that question, am I doing something to use the skills I have to benefit others, and am I encouraging others to do the same thing? And being able to say yes to that question is about the most satisfying feeling there is. So let me say thanks again for the chance for Ann and me to come up and just share a few minutes with you and talk about what a marvelous opportunity you have before you. I mean, you have got so many exciting opportunities and twists and turns and ways that you can lighten somebody's load or make somebody's life better before you with the training that you've received. I mean, it's exciting to be in a room and just kind of think of the possibilities multiplied by the number of people here. You're going to do a lot of good, and we really thank you for the chance to come and share a little bit with you today.